is open to Bay Area drivers once again following a shutdown during the entire weekend. So the bridge is open, but not for long. Kit Doe is on the eastern end of the bridge to tell us why. Good morning, Kit.
Good morning. One way to make Bay Area drivers happy, open the bridge early. To make them really happy, open up the bridge ahead of time, ahead of schedule. That's what happened this morning. The bridge opened up at about an hour ahead of schedule. Westbound traffic opened up at 3:55 a.m. The same thing happened at eastbound. For eastbound traffic, that happened at about the 4:15 this morning. Take a look here. Traffic really just whipping through the toll plaza at the speed limit at this hour. Now, the closure began at Friday night, 10 p.m. Caltrans had to do some much-needed repaving work. Crews also applied a special coating to parts of the bridge, and while it was shut down, they did some maintenance work as well. Total closure time just short of 55 hours. Drivers should notice a quieter, smoother ride thanks to a special type of polyester concrete blend.
It's lighter and it's also much more durable. It's going to last a good long time, and we're going to need that because the traffic levels today are much higher than they were when this bridge opened back in 1967. So having that good durable surface is very important.
Now check out this time-lapse video of massive delays on the detours on the other bridges over the weekend. Drivers were told to take the detours on either the Dumbarton or the Bay Bridge, and boy, did they ever. The Bay Bridge toll plaza had massive delays all weekend long. So back to a live look here at Chopper 5. Only a section of the San Mateo Bridge was repaved. Specifically, we're talking 6 lanes of a 1-mile section that had a lot of bumps and cracks in it. By the way, Caltrans will need to shut down this bridge and do this all over again Memorial Day weekend. We're live in Hayward. Kit Doe, KPIX 5.
Liz, a relief for commuters out there, especially after seeing that time-lapse video of how bad it was on the Bay Bridge.
I know. There were a number of big events in San Francisco, festivals and stuff like that, and then we had Giants games all weekend long, so we knew it was going to be pretty brutal for the Bay Bridge all weekend. So this morning, it's just your usual delays. It's just the back-to-work commute. The metering lights were turned on the earlier side at 5:34, so you can see the backups now. Hopefully some people got the message ahead of time, and the backups now extend all the way to the maze already. So again, even with the metering lights turned on early, it's pretty typical commute heading into San Francisco. What's not typical is this commute out of Morgan Hill. This is a wreck, a 4-car crash. One actually went down the embankment, so we're not sure about lanes blocked right now. If a tow crew gets out there, they may actually need to block a lane. It's all happening in the northbound lanes of 101 at Coyote Creek Golf Drive, but it's slow from the Gilroy truck scales. And if you're heading to the Richmond-Santa Fe Bridge, actually everything looks great right now into Marin County. That is KCBS traffic. Back to you guys.
Okay, thank you, Liz. 6:02. Severe weather in the Midwest and Great Plains has brought days of hail, thunderstorms, and more than 45 tornadoes. Even reached parts of South Dakota where a tornado tore the roof off of this 100-year-old church in Delmont in Texas. A violent twister killed one person on Saturday, and floodwaters overtook homes. Even a baby in a basket was saved.
Firefighters knocked down a wildfire in West Marin before it reached any homes. It broke out in a coastal eucalyptus grove near Bolinas early yesterday, burning about 3 acres. Firefighters say they had the fire occur during summer. Flying embers would have threatened structures. A battalion chief says the fire was human-caused. In just a few hours, 2 fire stations in Contra Costa County will close for good. KPIX 5's Lisa Caen joins us from one of those stations in Knightson. Lisa?
Good morning. Well, firefighters just spent their last night here at Station 94. They are packed up and they are ready to be out of here by 8 o'clock this morning. The East Contra Costa Fire Protection District had no choice but to close 2 stations permanently after voters said no to a special parcel tax, one here in Knightston and one in Brentwood. Now there are only 27 firefighters to protect over 100,000 people over a huge area of 250 square miles.
If somebody has a heart attack or anything, it's going to take them forever to come. So who knows what's going to happen after this.
On April 27th, voters defeated a proposed benefit assessment that would have generated $4.2 million a year for 5 years. That is why last week a 9-member board of directors voted unanimously to shut this Knightson firehouse and make the temporary closure of another one in Brentwood permanent. Now people are worried that home values will decrease and businesses thinking about coming to this area will reconsider. In Knightson, Lisa Caen, KPIX 5.
Well, the timing on that could be worse. It's so dry out there.
The fire season never ended.
No,
it's
you're
just
right.
12 months a year now.
Keeps going.
Extremely dry conditions. Today, some very breezy conditions as well, and some cooler temperatures for this time of the year. Good morning, everybody. Okay, everybody take a look at this. Where's... Ooh,
pretty.
Right. This is our scene from our weather camera atop Mount Vaca this morning, where we have partly cloudy conditions. We have some areas of fog in Santa Rosa, 41 degrees, Livermore 53. It is breezy, and Concord wind gusts have been blown up to 22. Here's what you need to know heading out the door this morning for the kids off to school. Temperature-wise, into the 50s with some breezy conditions. Our numbers today will be below average for this time of the year. Should be right around 64 in San Francisco, instead in the high 50s. Partial coastal clouds. Right now we have low clouds and fog. 60s will be coming around the peninsula to 68 degrees in San Jose. And then we move to the eastern portion of the Bay Area, where our numbers will stack up from the 60s to the low 70s. West winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. North Bay numbers from 57 degrees in Stinson Beach. Very blustery conditions there. 70 in Santa Rosa, and across Lake County into the 70s. Full forecast featuring rain. That's coming up shortly, guys.
Okay, thanks, Roberta. If your tap water tastes maybe a little different this morning, not to worry. Due to the drought, East Bay mud is pulling water from the upper sections of the Pardee Reservoir, and that water might smell a bit fishy or taste a little more earthy. East Bay mud spokeswoman tells us it is completely safe.
The Amgen Tour of California is underway with a second leg set for today. Thousands lined the streets of Sacramento yesterday to watch the elite cyclists race by. British cyclist Mark Cavendish took stage one. It covered just over 126 miles. Second stage begins today in Nevada City. The only Bay Area stop will be tomorrow in San Jose. The race wraps up in Pasadena next Sunday.
And Amgen Tour organizers say they are making a concerted effort to conserve water this year. Tents used to be weighed down with water ballast. This time, concrete blocks are doing that job. Plastic barricades normally filled with fresh water contain salt water instead. And mechanics are using less water to clean the bikes now. And in California's multi-year drought, every drop helps.
I have to imagine it's tens of thousands of gallons when you think about it over the course of 8 days.
However, there's one aspect where the tour is not cutting back on water, making sure the athletes stay hydrated in the spring heat.
A section of elevated freeway in San Francisco may face demolition. KPIX5 insider Phil Mateer has learned San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee will soon go public with a plan to tear down part of Interstate 280. The idea, dismantle it north of the Mariposa exit, move the Caltrain station now at 4th and King Street to 3rd Street opposite Pier 50 near the proposed Warriors Arena, and build a new neighborhood at the old Caltrain rail yard. The plan would cost billions. The mayor may put forward a ballot measure to get voters to approve it.
Today, an ordinance intended to put the brakes on development in Palo Alto is expected to pass. The concern is that longtime retailers in the city's main commercial areas are getting priced out of their locations and being replaced by office space. If the city council passes the new ordinance, it would stay in effect for 45 days with an option to extend it for an additional 10 months. Caltrans plans to evict a camp of homeless people in the South Bay as soon as today. Neighbors in the area are upset about the trash, all the debris, and the smell. Camp is near the Capitol Auto Mall in San Jose. Since the land in question is state-owned, the city really couldn't do much about it, but Caltrans says they will be out by the end of this week.
Today, 4 suspects accused of killing 2 police officers in Mississippi will make their first court appearance. A candlelight vigil was held in the community of Hattiesburg to honor 34-year-old Officer Benjamin Dean and 25-year-old Officer LaCorey Tate. They were shot and killed Saturday night after pulling over a car the suspects were riding in. The killings have been a shock to the small city.
We want to be sure that we do come together as a community, let them know that we appreciate them, and just do what we can to make this work for the good of the community.
A memorial service for Officer Dean and Officer Tate will be held today.
6:09 on this Monday. California's controversial vaccination bill is moving forward, but more changes could upset people on both sides of the issue.
And an Oregon family is planning a lawsuit against United Airlines after a pilot refuses to fly until an autistic teen is removed from the flight.
From the KPIX Weather Center, good morning, everybody. We have rain back in the forecast. I'll show you which days to expect it.
And in addition to the San Mateo Bridge closure, we also had some reduced BART service out of Oakland, creating a huge headache for commuters. Well, everything is back on track and on time right now. We'll take another check of the roads after this break.
Hello and good morning, everybody. The time check for you now is 6:13 on this 11th day of May. It is Monday, and we're taking a look out towards SFO, where see all those clouds? Those clouds are responsible for delays up to 50 minutes on some arriving flights. Rain back in the forecast. The details at 18 minutes after the hour.
Thank you, Roberta. Rescuers in Texas almost need help rescuing themselves. This National Guardsman dropped from a helicopter to help two men stuck in that pickup in raging floodwaters during a storm. At first, he missed the target, eventually made it to the truck. All three, by the way, are safe and doing fine this morning.
An Oregon mother says she plans to sue United Airlines. She claims her family was kicked off a flight because her daughter has autism. Well, that's how 15-year-old Juliet Beagle expresses frustration. Her mom says Juliet was hungry and started to act up on a flight from Houston to Portland. So she asked a flight attendant if she could purchase a hot meal and says she was told no at first.
And I said, well, how about if we wait for her to have a meltdown? And then she's crying and tries to scratch, and then you'll want to help her.
United defends the pilot's actions. In a statement, the airline said, quote, "The crew made the best decision for the safety and comfort of all of our customers and elected to divert to Salt Lake City after the situation became disruptive."
Santa Rosa man suffered serious stab wounds after confronting suspected car burglar outside his apartment Sunday morning. The victim went outside to confront three men he thought were illegally dumping trash on Bordenvilla Drive. Well, police say the suspects were actually breaking into parked vehicles there. One of the suspects snuck up behind the victim, stabbed him in the neck and the back. He was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Anyone that might have information has to call Santa Rosa Police Gang Crime Team.
Over a week after the violent May Day protests in Oakland, not much has improved on Broadway's Auto Row. Dozens of new cars sit damaged on dealerships' lots. Plywood covers the windows shattered by demonstrators, and some angry business owners blame the city for not doing enough to prevent the vandalism.
If they keep getting their windows smashed in and they have to keep paying more for insurance, they're going to leave and they're going to take those jobs with them.
Mayor Libby Schaaf admits money is short, but she says her office is working to get the businesses repaired as quickly as possible. That includes putting off permit fees and finding grant money to help shops fix their windows.
Some parents opposed to a controversial vaccine bill may get their way after all. State lawmakers are diluting that bill to ensure its passage. The legislation would require all virtually California school children to be vaccinated, but there is now an amendment to that. Grandfathered in children whose parents have claimed personal belief exemptions in the past. Bill could go to a full Senate vote as early as this week. And Caltrain riders may have more room to stretch out starting this morning's commute. Most trains will now have an extra car. The 6 car will add 150 seats and more standing room during peak times in the morning and the evening commute. Caltrain bought 16 used rail cars earlier this year because ridership has been booming. It's grown to more than 60,000 riders on an average day.
So some people may actually get a seat now, right?
And that is very needed. I know if you check Twitter every morning, like I do, people are always tweeting about this, about how they can't get a seat on Caltrain. And
right.
It's getting more and more crowded every day. So, yeah, let's talk about the San Mateo Bridge. If you are wondering if it's reopened, it has reopened, and it reopened ahead of schedule, in fact. So, yeah, we're going to get a live report from Kit Doe about the latest conditions in just a minute, but I can give you this bird's eye view right now from Chopper 5. You know, the westbound lanes opened right before 4 a.m. and then the eastbound lanes opened 15 minutes after that. And it's a good thing because it was pretty brutal for commuters all weekend long. Drivers around the Bay Area in some places got stuck in 2-hour or more backups trying to use the Bay Bridge or the Dumbarton Bridge as an alternate. They were doing a major repaving project. It's actually only the first so far this month. Let's go to a tweet that it was kind of funny. It was from Stan Bunger over at KCBS, our radio partner, and he says the first review on the new San Mateo Bridge surface from Holly Kwan. She says it's like a friend that got a chemical peel and you couldn't see any difference. So hopefully you'll notice the difference this morning if you're hopping onto the San Mateo Bridge. They've only repaved a portion of it, and it's Memorial Day weekend when they'll repaving the next part. But yeah, it hasn't been repaved in I think 48 years is what they said. So yeah, they're working to make it even better for riders. All right, let's go take a check of the Bay Bridge, and everything is pretty typical here. I think commuters are finally getting the message now. You can use the Bay Bridge once again, or you can use the San Mateo Bridge. So you don't need to use the Bay Bridge as an alternate. And it looks pretty good as far as your drive time on the East Shore Freeway, 24 minutes from the Carquinez Bridge to the Maze. Metering lights were turned on a touch early at 5:34, so maybe some of those earlier commuters didn't get the message. And northbound 101 at Coyote Creek Golf Drive, this is in Morgan Hill. This is actually a 4-car crash, not blocking lanes, but it is still pretty slow out of Gilroy. That's your latest KCBS traffic. All right, Roberta's standing by with our cooler forecast.
Thank you, Liz, and good morning, San Jose. This is our live weather camera looking out towards the Silicon Valley. Partly cloudy skies, air temperature now in the low 50s, and the winds are slight out of the southeast at 5 miles per hour. Picking up some wind gusts, however, in Concord up to 21 and 22 miles per hour. Will be a breezy day with westerlies 10 to 20 during the afternoon hours. All right, here's what you need to know. Heading on out the door this morning, we had the low clouds and the patchy fog lining the immediate seashore, trying to slip into the bay as well. We will experience below average temperatures each and every day leading into the weekend, and we we do have a chance of rain returning right here to the Bay Area on Thursday and Friday. Upper level area of low pressure well to the north of the Bay Area, banking up against the ridge of high pressure, causing a pressure gradient. Plus, it's a pretty robust sea breeze out of the west that will keep us on the breezy side today. Then this area of low pressure continues to spill some cooler air into the Bay Area, so that's why each day our numbers will check in below average. 76 state capital today, 63 high Sierra, mid-50s in Monterey Bay, back in through Carmel. This is certainly good news. If you suffer from allergies, and I think everybody does anymore, the pollen count lowers on Wednesday. Yay! That's with the cooler air mass in place. Temperature-wise into the 50s, 60s, and few low 70s. Outside number today will be 74 degrees in the Brentwood and Discovery Bay area. Otherwise, cooler Tuesday. We begin to cloud up Wednesday, and that leaves a chance of rain showers on Bike to Work Day on Thursday. Frank and Michelle?
Thank you, Ro. It is 6:20. Everyone is asked to conserve water during the drought, and some of Hollywood's elite are being called out by their neighbors.
And I'm Dennis O'Donnell. Coming up, it was a Mother's Day full of incredible finishes around the sporting world, none bigger than the one in the Windy City where the King added to his resume. If you haven't seen it, stick around. Good morning, everybody. You want drama? We have a walk-off. We have a 3-hole playoff. We have got a buzzer beater. On Mother's Day, a little girl had plenty to smile about at AT&T when Matt Duffy's base hit won it. The Giants rally back with 2 runs in the ninth. They beat the Marlins 3-2, and they split the series. Well, even the Kings Court in Seattle docked out in pink for Mother's Day. Dustin Ackley smacked a 2-run double to put the Mariners on top. They hang on to beat the A's 4-3 and sweep that series. Oakland loses 7 of 10 on that road trip. Ricky Fowler played the final 6 holes, 6 under par to force the playoff at the Players' Championship. Fowler would sink the birdie on the 3rd playoff hole to defeat Sergio Garcia and Kevin Kinsner for his 2nd career win on tour. Nobody happier than Mom in black right there. Kanye West opted for the NBA playoffs over Mother's Day with the Kardashians. 1 second left. LeBron James, this for the win? Yes! The shot was okay, but how about the pass by former St. Mary's star Matthew Dellavedova? Cleveland evens the series with Chicago now at 2 games apiece. The Warriors, they're down 2 games to 1. They'll try and even that series at 2 games apiece tonight in Game 4 at Memphis. And guess who's coming to town? Pablo Sandoval, now third baseman for the Boston Red Sox, playing the A's tonight. We'll have the entire wrap for you on our 6 and 11 o'clock news. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Dennis. So good, it's worth another look. We got Cavs and Bulls, as Dennis mentioned, game tied 84, 1.5 seconds to go. St. Mary's own Matthew Dellavedova, he's the assistor, and the King nails the jumper. A baseline jumper at the buzzer to win it all. LeBron wins it and sends that series locked up at 2 apiece. Cleveland 2, Chicago 2 after that play of the day.
6:25 right now. We've heard a lot about the cost of building high-speed rail from the Bay Area to LA. But what about the cost to ride?
And I'm Kit Doe. We're live here at the San Mateo Bridge after being closed all weekend long. It opened, and it opened early. We've got a live report straight ahead.
from the CBS Bay Area studios. This is KPIX 5 News.
Violent storms expected again today in much of the country after a weekend that left communities in ruin.
Firefighters are packing up and they will be gone by 8 o'clock this morning. I'm Melissa Caen, live at Nights, and I'll tell you why 2 fire stations in East Contra Costa County are closing for good.
Much needed rain. It's back in the forecast. I'll show you which days to expect it.
And the commute is heating up, especially along corridors of 580 between the Altamont Pass, Livermore Valley. We'll have your travel times coming up.
Thank you, Liz. Good morning. It's Monday, May the 11th. I'm Frank Malika.
And I'm Michelle Griego. Time now is 6:30. Let's take a live look from Chopper 5 at the San Mateo Bridge. It reopened to traffic this morning after being closed all weekend, so crews could repave some of the roadways. And Kit Doe is in Hayward at the toll plaza where traffic is moving again. Kit?
Good morning. Finally, some good traffic news to report this morning. The San Mateo Bridge opened up early, and we're talking about an hour early. Westbound traffic opened up at 3:55 this morning, and then eastbound traffic about 20 minutes after that at 4:15. Take a look here. Traffic just whipping through the toll plaza here on the east side of the bridge. Now, the closure began Friday night at 10 p.m. Caltrans needed to do some much-needed repaving work. Crews also applied a special coating to parts of the bridge, and while it was shut down, they did some maintenance work as well. Total closure time was just short of 55 hours. They used a special type of polyester concrete blend, and this has vastly improved the ride.
The asphalt coating, the surface out there, was original from 1967, so it's 48 years old. It was getting very, very ratty and a lot of alligator cracking, and people were noticing it, so it definitely was time after 48 years to do a resurfacing project.
Now check out this time-lapse video of massive delays on the detours on the other bridges over the weekend. Drivers were told to take the detours on either Dumbarton or Bay Bridge, and wow, the Bay Bridge toll plaza had massive delays all weekend long. Back here for a live look from Chopper 5, only a section of the San Mateo Bridge was repaved. Specifically, we're talking about 6 lanes of a 1-mile section that had a lot of bumps and cracks in it. Caltrans will need to shut this down and do this all over again Memorial Day weekend. We are live in Hayward. Kit Doe, KPIX 5.
Check in with Liz now. It looks pretty good out there so far, huh?
Yeah, it does. I know we've been kind of watching the road sensors. Kit has been watching from Chopper 5. And yeah, everything's pretty good on westbound and eastbound 92. It's all green on the sensors. You can see that behind me. I know a lot of folks use the Dumbarton this weekend. Right now, that looks pretty good. We are seeing a few delays in southbound 880 getting there and on the approach to the toll plaza, but then it looks great into Menlo Park. Bay Bridge, different story. The metering lights turned on at 5:34. So, yeah, unfortunately, you are stacked up through the maze. Just your typical Monday morning slow ride to work into the city. It is a drive time of 28 minutes right now from the Carquinez Bridge to the maze. 580 is also backed up to 24. And taking a check of the South Bay now, it's at northbound 101 commute. That is pretty slow right now out of San Jose. But again, usual stuff from Capitol Expressway out to the Julian McKee exit. 880 is fine. This is a bright spot as you pass the Oakland Coliseum. That is KCBS traffic. Burnett looks very gray outside. I'm sorry, I'm not going to you. Back to you guys.
Okay, thanks. 6:32 now. Rescuers made dramatic rescues in the Midwest and the Great Plains. For days, the area has been hit by hail, thunderstorms, and dozens of tornadoes. A century-old church in South Dakota was destroyed when a tornado ripped through the roof there. And in Texas, a violent twister killed one person on Saturday. And floodwaters overtook homes. Even a baby was saved in a basket there.
I may drown in the process, but I will
She'll make sure
the babies and everybody else is okay.
Tornado warnings remain in effect in parts of Texas and Oklahoma.
A wildfire was contained in West Marin before it could damage any homes. It broke out in a eucalyptus grove near Bolinas yesterday, burning about 3 acres. Firefighters say if the fire happened during summer, flying embers would have threatened structures. The battalion chief says the fire was human caused. And in South San Francisco, a grass fire on San Bruno Mountain charred 11 acres. Initially, strong Strong winds made the fire very difficult to fight, but crews got it contained within about 90 minutes yesterday afternoon. No word yet on how this fire started.
So dry out there, but I guess midweek we got a little bit of rain coming our way, huh?
We have a good chance of it at this particular time, and we have to say chance because the computer models are kind of arguing with each other whether or not they want to bring the full area of low pressure into the Bay Area, but it's nice to even have that chance. Right now, we actually have a little bit of condensation in the form of drizzle on our camera lens looking out past SFO. Can you see it there? It's kind of on the camera lens, all associated with that deck of low clouds and patchy fog. We have delays at SFO up to 15 minutes on some arriving flights. We have some gusty winds in the Concord area up to 21, flat winds in San Jose, and fog now in Santa Rosa in the low 40s. What you can anticipate at 8 o'clock this morning as we break it down from the coast of the Bay to the inland areas as kids are heading out the door for school. Partly to mostly cloudy skies into the 50s. Temperatures coming in below average this entire week. 50s common across the coast, and we'll see some partial clearing there. Otherwise, 60s and 70s around the peninsula. Up to 69 degrees in Morgan Hill. Very cool day there in comparison to where we should be for this time of the year. 70 degrees in Black Hawk and Danville. 66 in San Rafael. We'll talk about those rain chances and pollen report. Frank, that's still coming up.
Thanks, Roberta. The drought is bringing an early start to the fire season. That could mean danger in Contra Costa County, where 2 fire stations are set to close today. KPIX5's Lisa Caen is live at one of those stations in Knightson, and she has the latest. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, firefighters say their jobs are about to get a lot harder now that Station 94 here in Knightson is about to close. Starting today, 2 fire stations are closing, so there are only 3 in the East Contra Costa Fire District. This means response times will be longer and crews will have to respond to more calls. That is because there are only 27 firefighters protecting over 100,000 people. They are also covering a massive area of 250 square miles. In an emergency, this could make the difference between life and death.
Sure. I mean, minutes, seconds count. If it's a CPR call or anything like that, seconds count for us.
These closures had to happen after voters said no to a special parcel tax that would have generated $4.2 million a year for 5 years. Firefighters are packing up and they will be out of here by 8 o'clock this morning. So starting today, crews at the next closest fire station will have to respond to calls. But since they are covering a much larger area, traffic could be a major factor in response times. Frank?
And Lisa, will firefighters be able to respond to all the calls they get?
Well, unfortunately, they won't be able to respond to all calls. Firefighters will have to decide which non-emergency calls to go to, but many non-life-threatening medical calls will no longer get a response. In Knightson, Lisa Caen, KPIX 5.
Well, it turns out the grass is greener in Hollywood. Stars like Jennifer Lopez, Kim Kardashian, and Jessica Simpson have beautiful manicured lawns in Southern California, even though the state has ordered water cutbacks up to 36% in some areas. Penalties for using more than your share are as high as $500, but that's pocket change to most celebrities.
I don't see that there's any reason why they should have the privilege of wanting to waste as much as they want just because they have the money to or the means to pay for it.
We reached out to the celebrities mentioned for comment, but have not heard back from them. There are also many other celebrities stepping up to make a difference, like Lady Gaga, who did a water conservation PSA.
A trip from San Francisco to L.A. may only cost you $86 once the bullet train is up and running. That's according to the L.A. Times. Breaks down to about 20 cents per mile, making it one of the world's cheapest high-speed trips. And new this morning, self-driving cars are not immune from fender benders. Of the nearly 50 driving around on California roads and highways, 4 have gotten into accidents since September. Self-driving cars use sensors and computing power to maneuver around traffic. The accidents, by the way, reportedly minor, but the full reports are confidential.
Governor Jerry Brown is expected to release his updated budget this week, and there should be more than enough to go around. With the $3 billion surplus, he's expected to ask for more money to be set aside for unanticipated costs. Public school and community colleges are also at the top of his list, but Democrats are wanting to spend in other areas such as child care, higher education, and social programs.
It is 6:38. The Warriors planning to build a San Francisco arena encountered some mysterious opposition. Now we're learning more about the team's strategy to fight back.
And some people just can't live without their single cup coffee machines, but that morning cup may contain more than just caffeine.
In the playoffs, and the Giants are playing the Dodgers. That'll be.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. It's 6:42 on this Monday, May 11th. Take a look at your TV screen. These numbers today will average below normal. Mid-50s and partial clearing at the coast. You can expect 60s and 70s around the peninsula today. 68 degrees in San Jose, down from the average high. 70 in Danville. Stanton Beach, a pretty raw day. West winds 10 to 20 miles per hour at 57 degrees. Otherwise, mid-60s in Novato. And across Lake County today, you can count on partly cloudy skies in the 70s.
A heart-stopping rescue after an older woman out for a hike in the East Bay fell. A CHP helicopter airlifted the 74-year-old hiker from the east side of Mount Diablo. Crews flew her to a nearby landing where an ambulance took her to the hospital. CHP will only say she has unspecified injuries.
Bay Area-based Tesla getting lots of orders for that new home and business battery well before the first batteries even hit the market.
Here now is KCBS Radio's financial reporter Jason Brooks. Good morning.
Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Frank. Tesla only taking reservations on those home and business batteries that it debuted at the end of April, but so far apparently a lot of demand. Bloomberg says the company raked in about $800 million worth of orders in just a few days. Now, it's hard to say when that money will actually come in. You can reserve one of these batteries years in advance. You don't need to put down a deposit. You don't even have to make a commitment to buy it. But obviously, a lot of people are interested. And if that $800 million figure was correct, that would top what Tesla sold in cars for all of the first quarter. There are some analysts out there who think the battery business might even eclipse the car business for Tesla down the road. Nintendo has famously resisted putting its games onto mobile devices, didn't think that the video would translate well to the small screen, also thought that the smartphone games would siphon off sales from its console games. However, Nintendo is finally realizing a lot of people simply play games on their smartphones, so it's now going to develop 5 games for smartphones specifically in the next 2 years, admitting that it needs to change with the changing times. Stock market came off a big day on Friday. The Dow gained over 260 points on a solid job gain in April. Well, we'll see how we start off this morning. Pretty flat so far. Let's take a look at the big board and see how we're doing at the moment. And so far, the Dow is moving a little bit lower while the NASDAQ is up 5 and the S&P is flat. Michelle and Frank, back to you.
All right, Jason Brooks from KCBS News. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Get ready to pay a little more at the pump. Right now, the statewide average for a gallon of regular, $3.72. As usual, drivers are paying more in the city, $3.82 in San Francisco. San Jose will fetch $3.69. Oakland, a little bit cheaper, $3.65.
Just a little bit cheaper, but still expensive.
You gotta shop around.
I know.
4 cents is 4 cents.
Still pricey.
Times 10.
Stay out of
40.
San Francisco if you can. Yeah, I'll take what we can get. All right, thanks, guys. Let's go out to the roads. Speaking of the roads, and take a check at the San Mateo Bridge. All eyes are on the San Mateo Bridge because, of course, it reopened. Actually, a little bit ahead of schedule. We had that big weekend shutdown, caused commuter havoc all around the Bay Area. You know, it was pretty brutal. Part stretches of the Bay Bridge, Dumbarton Bridge, people were searching for alternates as they headed to Giants games or other festivals. And in addition to that, we also had a BART, kind of reduced service, I guess you could call it. They had bus shuttles in place between Fruitvale and the Oakland Coliseum. Well, both of those are now back on track. BART is on time, normal service there. And as you just saw, the San Mateo Bridge is reopened. So this is our hotspot right now. It is definitely the Morgan Hill commute. Northbound 101, Coyote Creek Golf Drive. It's a 4-car crash on the right-hand shoulder. One car actually went down the embankment, so we were a little concerned that tow crews, when they got out there, they might block a lane. But there was obviously something going on there, some sort of visual distraction, because traffic is backed up from Tennant. That's where it starts in our sensors, and just solid. That's 17 miles per hour all the way out to the Coyote Creek Golf Drive exit. Here's a live look at a beautiful Golden Gate Bridge. No delay out of Sausalito. Everything's just rolling along like clockwork right now. They opened that 4 southbound lane a while ago in the 4:30 half hour. And here's a live look at 880 to Nimitz Freeway. Everything is also fine here near the Oakland Coliseum. That's your latest KCBS traffic. And as I was telling Roberta a little earlier, it's kind of gray out the door.
It is kind of gray out the door. I was just playing around with our Weather Watcher program right now, trying to take a look at some of the conditions in and around the Bay Area. And we do have some mostly cloudy skies lining the coast right now. Let's go ahead and take a look outside at some of our conditions according to our live weather camera. We do have some condensation right now on the camera lens. It's reporting some drizzle associated with that thick deck of low clouds and patchy fog. Temperatures have been trailing off into the 40s in Santa Rosa, and that's where we have areas of fog being reported with visibility in some pockets down to a quarter of a mile. Otherwise, some winds up to 22 and 23 in Concord, and San Francisco at 51 degrees. We do have delays at SFO on some arriving flights up to 50 minutes. So we do have the low clouds and the patchy fog. Below average temps expected today through the work week, and then we have a chance of rain returning right here to the Bay Area on Thursday and Friday. Strong, robust west winds 10 to 20 around the coast and into our inland areas today. Low pressure dragging down some cooler air mass. And when this low moves across the Bay Area, right now it's only a chance of rain Thursday and Friday, but we'll keep that in there. 76 in Sacramento today, 54 Eureka, 63 High Sierra. Sunup already took place, 6:04, and by the time it sets at 8:09, check your pollen report out. Today, medium to high, but by Wednesday, a bit of a relief for all of us allergy sufferers. 50s, 60s, and 70s today. Again, averaging a good 5 degrees below normal in many of our neighborhoods. Again, we do have that cooler air mass on Tuesday and Wednesday. By Thursday, we'll chance that rain in there. And you know what? I have to mention that chance of rain, especially because it's bike to work day on Thursday, but don't let that discourage you. Any amounts of rain right now will be generally less than 2/10 of an inch. Frank?
Thanks, Roberta. The Warriors take the court, Game 4 in a really gotta-win-it game at Memphis tonight.
Yes, and while the players are focused on the Grizzlies, the front office faces opposition over plans to build a new arena in San Francisco. And political analyst Melissa Caen is here to break it all down for us.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Go Warriors.
Yes.
We got to do better tonight.
Yeah, they need help tonight.
They're going to need it. So as we know, there is this opposition group called the Mission Bay Alliance, and they are threatening to derail the Warriors Arena project here in San Francisco's Mission Bay. Now, how would they do that? One way they've threatened to do it is to tie up the project in lawsuits. Jack Davis, a consultant to the Mission Bay Alliance, has said the Warriors can't get financing as long as litigation is pending, and there will be litigation until the cows come home. But the Warriors may be able to short circuit that with a little help from state lawmakers. Now, it is true that in the past, big projects like the arena could be stalled for years while lawyers fought over this law called the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA or CEQA. The CEQA Act was designed to make sure projects don't harm the environment, but it was also sometimes used as a weapon by people who just want to stop a big project. Now, by 2011, the governor had decided that we really need some of those big projects and all the jobs they bring. So the state created a way to speed up those CEQA lawsuits so that some of those big projects could go forward. Now, under the new law, projects that are really, really environmentally sensitive can get a special certification, and that certification dramatically limits the amount of time you can tie up a project in those CEQA lawsuits. Now, if the Warriors Arena can get that certification, it will go somewhere to take the wind out of the Mission Bay Alliance's threat of lawsuit Mageddon, basically. So that certification is going to be critical.
Lawsuit Mageddon.
Yes, you're
welcome.
welcome.
That's a good word. Yeah, exactly. Well, a lot seems to be riding on this certification. So where do things stand with it?
Right. So they've already applied, and there are 2 steps in the certification process. First, the governor has to agree, and then a committee in the state legislature gets to vote on it. Now, right now, step 1 is done. Governor Jerry Brown has given his stamp of approval. Now it is on to that committee, and the committee has not voted yet. They will, though, in the coming weeks.
You got a crystal ball? How are they leaning?
Well, it looks pretty good, I have to say. The chairman of that committee is San Francisco's very own State Senator Mark Leno. He is a supporter of the arena. Also on the committee is San Francisco's Assemblyman Phil Ting, a huge supporter of the Warriors Arena project. So, while anything can happen, the chances for that certification look pretty good for the Warriors. I spoke to a consultant with the Warriors who said they are confident that they're going to get that certification and be able to move forward with the project.
So the supporters are confident. What do the opponents think?
All right, so I asked Sam Singer, who is a spokesman for the Mission Bay Alliance, and he told me that just the fact that the Warriors are trying to get that certification shows that they are afraid of those CEQA lawsuits, and he says that they are still going to be filed.
Now, arena aside, can you guarantee a win tonight at Memphis?
Of course. Yes,
Okay.
I can.
Yes.
Chris,
yes, I
how
have
about
no
you?
idea
We
what I'm
gonna
saying.
Got a thumbs up from my
Yeah,
husband.
all right.
Okay.
My husband says that they're going to win, then they're going to win.
Then they're
We'll
going
be
to win.
watching.
All right, Melissa, thank you.
Thank you.
Melissa. So, what did you get your mom for Mother's Day? A greeting card, maybe a bouquet of flowers?
How about a call from the president?
Hi, this is Barack Obama, your president. Hi, Patty.
Hi, yes.
Hey, this is Barack Obama. How
Nuh-uh.
are you? Yeah, it is.
No way.
Yeah, way. Say thank
Nuh-uh.
you for being
President
great
Obama
mom.
surprised 3 mothers with personal phone calls. The women are from Minnesota, Arizona, and Florida. All had written letters to the president in the past year.
Imagine just you're at home and you get a phone call.
I know.
Happy Mother's Day. Well, as you sip your first cup of coffee this morning, something to consider. Germs. Yep, our sister station in Chicago tested 10 single-serve machines, several areas, and sent the swabs to a lab. Microbiologists found bacteria, including strep and E. coli, believe it or not, in areas where you put your coffee packs and where the brewed coffee actually comes out.
I'm definitely need to clean that more often. I'm very skeeved out right now.
Skeeved, a very good word. The best way to minimize the germs, wash your hands before using the machine, flush the system, a little white vinegar will do the trick, and let the pieces completely dry after you clean them.
Time now is 6:52. 4 people are now in custody after a pair of police officers were shot and killed over the weekend.
I'm still on 70, Chris.
Whoa, is that you, Dale? Coming down?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I didn't hear you come in. Man, you're way down there. Okay. I'm at 2.7 at the moment.
All right, cool.
5 things to know at the 55. A vigil will be held this afternoon for 2 Mississippi police officers killed over the weekend. 34-year-old Benjamin Dean, 25-year-old LaCorey Tate were shot during a traffic stop. 4 suspects will make their first court appearance today.
Violent storms over the weekend left a mess in Texas and neighboring states. About 24 people were hurt when a tornado reportedly touched down in a small town in northeast Texas. Another round of severe weather is expected today, affecting areas from Texas all the way to Michigan.
In just about an hour, 2 fire stations will shut down for good in East Contra Costa County, their fire protection district. One is in Brentwood, the other is in Knightson. Last November, voters rejected a special parcel tax to keep the stations open. So starting today, 3 fire stations will cover 250 square miles.
A crucial game 4 for the Warriors tonight. Golden State needs a victory to tie their series with the Grizzlies. Warriors need to bounce back from another poor shooting night in game 3 on Saturday. After tonight, the series returns to Oakland for game 5 on Wednesday.
And some changes on Caltrain starting today. From now on, each train will have an extra car. The 6th car will add 150 seats and more standing room during the morning and evening commutes. Caltrain bought 16 used rail cars earlier in the year to handle their growing ridership.
And I'm Kit Doe. We're live here at the San Mateo Bridge, which was closed all weekend long, but it just opened up a couple of hours ago, and it opened up early. The westbound traffic opened up at 3:55. 20 minutes later, eastbound traffic opened up, and look here, traffic just whipping by here at the limit here at the toll plaza. Now, the closure began at Friday night, 10 p.m. Caltrans needed to do some major repaving work. Crews also applied a special coating to parts of the bridge, and while it was shut down, they did some maintenance work as well. Total closure time just shy of 55 hours. Drivers should notice a quieter and smoother ride thanks to a special type of polyester concrete blend. Now check out this time-lapse video of massive delays on the detours on the other bridges over the weekend. Drivers were told to take the detour on either the Dumbarton or the Bay Bridge. The Bay Bridge toll plaza had delays all weekend long, so only a section of the San Mateo Bridge was repaved. Specifically, 6 lanes of a 1-mile section was redone. We're going to have to redo this all over again in a couple of weeks on Memorial Day weekend when they need to shut it down and do some more repaving work. We're live here at the San Mateo Bridge in Hayward. Kit Doe, KPIX 5.
Thanks, Kit. We'll take a live look at current conditions right now on that westbound 92 ride, that section of the San Mateo Bridge. And it is beginning to slow right now out of Hayward. The drive time is up to 18 minutes to Foster City and the peninsula, but at least you can use it. So commuters are beginning to. Here's a live look at the Richmond Santa Fe Bridge. The approach is a little sluggish just past the Richmond Parkway exit, and you can see right now the other drive times are starting to fill in as well. The East Shore Freeway and 580 through the Livermore Valley.
Good morning, everybody. Take a good look at this right now because you can actually see a little bit of drizzle on our camera lens. That drizzle is all associated with a very thick layer of low clouds and patchy fog. Because of that, we now have delays at SFO up to 50 minutes on some arriving flights. We're in the 40s and 50s heading out the door. Santa Rosa is reporting some visibility issues due to some pockets of fog. It'll be a rather cool day, below average numbers, 50s beaches, partial clearing, 50s, 60s Bayside to the mid-60s Peninsula, up to the low 70s in the warmest locations, inland areas. Hey, we cloud up Wednesday, and that will lead to the potential of rain.
Okay, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Hey, enjoy your day, folks. We'll see you at noon time.
From the KPIX Weather Center, good morning.